guys, it's Kai, and today we're gonna talk about some crazy ass shit.
Why are you such a copycat?
Okay, maybe not like crazy, but definitely dramatic, and like, why did it even happen in the first place? So first things first, I wanted to talk about my friend and fave, Andrew TMI, released merch recently. It was just like a trial run, and I wanted some really bad because it's just super cute. And yeah, so I went ahead and bought it with Christmas money, and it just came in the mail, but I'm very excited. It's really comfy, and it's, yeah. Also, I officially fit into a medium again, which shouldn't seem like such a big deal, but it is, and I'm very excited about it anyway. But that's not why you guys clicked on this video. I'm pretty sure I titled this like scam by a fake director or something like that, something along those lines. But while it's not entirely clickbait, it's also not entirely true, but like kind of. I'm just gonna tell you, okay? Now, I'm gonna change the name of this guy because he does actually have like a company, which is why I thought he was legit in the first place. And maybe he does actually make things. However, the specific story time is just like super sketchy, and like I'm pretty sure it would have been illegal because we were literally stealing content, and then it was like, you know, we'll get to it. This story takes place back when I first moved to California. I was living in Joshua Tree at the time, and there are videos from back then. The house I was living in had no Wi-Fi. I was spending all my time at Starbucks. Like, I wanted to get the ball rolling, but I was also living 2.5 hours away from LA. Now, at the time, I also was not working because my transfer that was supposed to go through from my old Starbucks to the one in LA that my boss never actually sent through and claimed that she did, and then took me literally threatening to leave to make her finally send the paperwork through, and then suddenly magically I was transferred. Tea for another day because I will tell that story. I'm still bitter about it. Like, most of the things in my past I've like let go of, and like it's whatever, but that I'm like still bitter about, and I'm still bitter about that boss. And like, she tried to pretend like we were friends the whole time while she was still like going behind my back, and not what we're talking about today at all. But let me know if you want to hear that story because I want to tell it. Anyway, I was looking for work. There was no work in Joshua Tree. It's the kind of place where it's like anti-corporate. So like, there aren't that many people out there, and all the ones that are out there have jobs, and like the jobs that some of them have, like my roommate at the time was working at a pizza place, right? And the pizza place wasn't doing super well, and so she literally just like was working and not actually getting paid for it. And then eventually the place shut down. She had to like sue or something like that to get her money. It was a whole thing. So that's the kind of place I was living in, so getting a job was very hard, and I couldn't just pick up hours at Starbucks because, again, my region wasn't in LA like it was supposed to be. My region technically was still in North Carolina because my boss still hadn't sent through the, you know? So anyway, I was trying to find a job, but I was also looking anywhere else I could. I was trying to do freelance stuff, but a lot of those places take like months and months to even get back to you, and I needed to pay rent like then. So I happened across this ad on Craigslist. I wish I had taken like a screenshot of it or something, but it was basically this guy saying like, hey, like, I need people to be in a YouTube series with me. I'm trying to create this YouTube series. It's 111. That's good luck. But he was saying, I want people to be in this YouTube series with me. Like, it's best if you have a YouTube channel, but even if you do not, like, that's okay. I just want like actors, and I want to do a comedy series on YouTube. So I responded to this ad thinking this is kind of sketchy, but you know what can it hurt to just reach out to the guy? Okay, I mean, I guess technically it could hurt a lot of things to just reach out to the guy, but semantics. So I reached out to him. I was like, hey, like, I might be interested. I do have a YouTube channel. I'm trying to do acting in YouTube, and like, that's why I moved here in the first place. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, what do you need? Do you have dates? Like, is it paid? Blah, blah, blah. And he did say he was willing to pay like $100 a day. He was like, yeah. Like, I have so much money. Like, that was something he actually continued throughout the entire time that I knew him. Every time I met up with him, just being like, yeah, like, I have so much money. Like, I've got it. Like, don't even worry about it. Like, I got you. And mind you, I was spending all my time at Starbucks anyway because I didn't have Wi-Fi at my house, and Starbucks had Wi-Fi. So I was at the Starbucks, and he was like, hey, like, I can actually drive down there later today because I was in Palm Springs for a shoot or something. I don't even remember what it was. But he said that he was like semi-close to the area, so he could drive down like 7, 8 p.m. that night, something like that. It was actually really weird. I was sitting outside at one of the tables and like texting him like, hey, I'm here, and he was like, okay, cool, I'll be there in 1 second. And I like told him what I was wearing so that he would know like who I was, and he had checked out my YouTube channel beforehand, everything else. So he knew what I looked like, and he came up and he was like, hey, Kai, and I'm like, oh my god, hey, I haven't thought of a name yet. What's a guy's name? I don't know. We'll call him Harry. So he comes up and he's like, Kai? I'm like, Harry, hey, what's up? And then he hugged me, which was kind of weird because I don't really like hugs or touching people, and I didn't know him. Like, we had literally texted just a few times and that was it. But yeah, he hugged me and he's like, I'm gonna go in and get some coffee. Do you want anything? And I was like, oh, you don't have to. He's like, no. I got it. Trust me, I got it. And so I told him what I wanted. It was like a toffee nut latte with soy, something like that. I don't know. That's usually what I get. So we went inside and got my latte. I'm like waiting outside like, ooh, free coffee. And so he gets back outside and he's like asking how I am, how my day was, everything else. And then he immediately starts telling me like how beautiful I am and how my YouTube videos don't really do me justice. Like I just need to angle up the camera just a little bit and like, you know, frame my face properly. And he was like tucking my hair behind my ears and being like, see, look at your jaw.
I don't really like hugs or touching people.
It was weird. And then he kept saying, he said this one thing and he said it a couple of times and it kind of weirded me out a little bit. Probably should have been a red flag and it kind of was, but I ignored it. So first he went, just let me look at you for a second. And he kind of like sat back and did this thing. It was just kind of like looking at me and I'm sitting there like a little uncomfortable. Like, why are you looking me all over like you wanna... I'm not an actual snack, if that makes sense. Shout out to Caroline. It was a little uncomfortable and I'm just kind of sitting there like, hello, like why are you just looking at me? Like you already saw me, you've already seen my YouTube channel, like shouldn't we be discussing like acting and maybe like what your series is about and like what you want from me? Like are we gonna do auditions or anything like that? Like tell me something specific. And then he says to me, I don't remember the exact wording, but I still remember this like vivid image in my head. He's like, you know, directors, like we just want to like look at you and you just have to like let us look, you know, like let us like get your vibe and like don't even like, you shouldn't feel on the spot at all. Like I just want to look at you for a minute. But yeah, it was like, you have to just let me, like don't be weird about it. Like it's not weird, it shouldn't be uncomfortable, just like let me look at you. But it was so long of just utter silence. I'm sitting there like, I don't know what I'm like, am I supposed to make eye contact? Am I supposed to look away? Like I'm confused. This is uncomfortable. Like didn't you get a good enough look? I don't know, whatever. Also, we were outside of Starbucks at nighttime. Like the sun was down. Like what can you even see? Like dim ass lighting outside. Like it was just like one very defining uncomfortable moment. Anyway, so that's over and then we're just talking about stuff and there are some times where he's like complimenting me and telling me how beautiful I am and how beautiful my body is and things like that and I'm just kind of like, oh, okay. And then we're talking about acting and like we're kind of like, it was kind of cool at first because I was like, you know, even if nothing comes out of this is a cool conversation because we were like bouncing ideas off of each other, talking about acting and directing and like being creative and like shots, not like shots, like shots, but just things like that. So like it was a good conversation and he was like, you know, I need to make sure that my actors can like take direction and everything else and like that's something I've heard before because I did theater all throughout my entire high school career and then some of my college career. And I'm telling him, you know, like, yeah, I've never really done any like screen stuff except for on my YouTube channel, so I'm comfortable in front of a camera, but also like most of my acting is like stage based and I know it's very different, so I'm like working on that. So he tells me, okay, well, I think I would like you to audition for this YouTube series. And I'm sitting here thinking, wasn't this supposed to be an audition? Or I guess maybe we're just feeling it out and then we're gonna do it. I don't know, it's just kind of weird, but whatever. But he was like, you know, I've talked to a few other people and like, how much do you need for rent? Like, kind of weird, like just like in my face. And you know, whenever he first sat down and we were talking about it and he's like, why do you want to do this? I was like, well, I do need money for my rent and everything else, but like also I love acting and that's why I moved to California in the first place and I want to get into it and blah blah blah. And he was like, well, how much is your rent? And I was like, well, it's $600. My roommate paid for half of it, now I need my half because things happened. I didn't go into detail with the whole story, but I just told him like, yeah, like I need to pay my rent, but also like I just want to do acting and like make contacts and add to my resume and things like that. Like I just love this stuff, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel and everything else. So he makes sure to tell me like 4 or 5 times before he leaves, like, yeah, like I got you, like I definitely want you to be in something of mine, like I like you a lot, I do want you to come to auditions and audition for something, but you know, I do think that this is going to work really well and I got you, I can get your rent, like I can pay you like $100-$200 a day, blah blah blah. And I told him like how much I needed for rent and he was like, oh yeah, that's no problem, I can get that to you the first day and then you can just work for me for a few days. And I was like, okay, that's great, thinking there's no way this is real, but also if it is, this is dope as shit. So he leaves and I go back home and I'm kind of like semi weirded out but also excited because I'm like, I'm gonna get to act in something, even if he's bullshitting about the money and everything else, like I'm gonna get to act in something and that's still cool. So a few days later he sends us an email saying like, hey, like I want to do official auditions for this YouTube series. He hadn't ever really said what it was about. He had said like, oh yeah, like I have some ideas, I wanted it to be like comedy with like a little bit of seriousness, which makes sense, but he hadn't said like what it was about. He didn't have an official script or anything else, but he's saying he wants to go ahead and do auditions and get this thing rolling. So I'm thinking either he has a script now or he's like about to, or he has an idea, and he sent a link to a video and I didn't actually get to watch it. Hey, it's 1, 2, 3. That's also good luck. I didn't get to watch it because again, I didn't have Wi-Fi at my house. I just had phone data and I was gonna watch it at Starbucks and then I just didn't get a chance to. I don't actually know why. Like I probably could, oh, you know what? I probably forgot about it honestly because I have a bad memory. That's the only explanation because I'm like, otherwise why wouldn't I have watched it? But I didn't watch the skit. When I got down there, Joshua Tree and Palm Springs are the desert, okay? I don't know if you've ever been, if you've been in California or not, whatever. It's the desert, okay? It does not rain that often, and when it does, it's for like 5 minutes and that's it. And if it's not, everything is flooded. Of course, this was during the summer, the hottest time. And the one day that I was going down to Palm Springs for auditions and needed to like look nice, like I was like not sure if it was legit or not, but I was like, this seems like we have like an actual official audition thing and there were other people CC'd on the email, like whatever. So I like try and look semi-nice and I wore flip-flops because I'm stupid, but it's fine. The only other shoes I own were my work shoes and that'll be important in a little bit. Not the work shoes, the flip-flops. So I drove down there like, oh no, it's rainy and gross and my car doesn't like the rain, so that was a whole thing, but eventually I got down there. So I parked in this parking lot. It was a really weird, confusing, it doesn't matter. So I parked and literally this place, like California is not prepared for rain, okay? Especially the desert. So anytime it does rain, it floods and Palm Springs was flooded. I mean, we weren't like floating, but there was like this much rain literally everywhere. There's no drainage, anything like that. So just, and it was pouring. Like North Carolina storms, just like without the thunder and the lightning. So I get out of my car, I'm in my flip-flops, I'm trying to figure out where exactly this building is because it's on like a strip on like Main Street and everything is like, it's a little bit confusing. So I parked in a parking lot behind it, but couldn't figure out exactly where it was. So I was like trying to use my GPS, right? Because it was like semi-flooded, like one of my flip-flops kind of got stuck to the sidewalk and suctioned a little bit and then it came off of my foot, like I stepped out of it by accident. It starts floating down the sidewalk, I run to catch up with it, stick my foot in it like, oh thank God I caught my other shoe, and then as soon as I put my foot in that shoe, my other flip-flop slips off of my foot. Hello? Like I literally was thinking in the moment, like this is literally like, you know those like rom-com movies where like the girl's like trying to do like her dream, like she's trying to like be like a fashion thing in like New York or whatever, like she's trying to go to something in LA to be an actress like I literally was, and then everything goes wrong and she's losing everything, her hair is a mess, she's dropping all the papers and blah blah blah. That's basically what had happened. Like that's what I was thinking because that left flip-flop literally took off and got stuck underneath a car and I could not get to it and it was pouring down rain and my phone was out. I had this umbrella that I brought with me from North Carolina because over there you always have to be prepared for rain. It was still half broken. I had never had to use it since moving to California. It was still half broken and because the wind was so strong down there, it was like blowing upward and all over the place. It was not fun. But I managed to find this place eventually. Like I was like running around like with only one shoe, like hair is soaking wet and a mess. My umbrella is like, I eventually gave up and just wrapped up the umbrella because it was just not working. I couldn't even use my GPS because my phone was getting so wet. I just had to put it in my bag. So I find this place and it's down like 3 steps and so there's like a little like concrete area where water was just going down and flooding. Like there was like 2 inches of water just like sitting down there. There was like a janitor guy trying to like mop it and like move it upward or into a bucket or whatever so that every time you open the door it wouldn't just flood inside the room. And normally this place was like I think it was like a karate studio or something like that. I don't know, it was like big. It kind of looked like a dance studio. It was like big, had like wooden floors and like mirrors and everything else, but like we were only using one small section of it. I don't know, it was weird. There were like couches and like one table. And I remember when I walked in, first of all, there was only one other person in there except for like the 2 people working like the lights and the camera and stuff, and then what did I call him? Harry. So I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry I'm late. I've had a day. But I was not the latest. I was still the second person to get there out of like 6 people. And they were like, oh no worries at all. You are not even the last person that we're expecting, so we're glad you're here. And it was only a few minutes, so it's fine. Although in show business, you're supposed to usually show up early instead of on time, so, but if I hadn't had so many fiascos on the way there, it would have been fine. Anyway, so I walk in, only one shoe. I start launching in this story about what happened because they're like asking where my other shoe is and why I'm soaking wet and blah blah blah. And I like set my stuff down. I'm like super frazzled. I have to put my glasses back on because anytime it's raining outside, I take off my glasses so that there's not like droplets of water all over my lenses. And they tell me to sit down and I'm just kind of like relaxing. They gave me like a little bit of water and I remember thinking at the time, and it's so funny now, but I remember thinking that their setup was so impressive because they had like this really nice camera, and it was like literally a Canon, like basically what I have, and then 2 light boxes, which is literally what I have, and then like a mic on top of the camera. Their equipment was like a little bit more impressive than mine, but not very much. Like it's literally pretty much what I use for my setup now. At the time I was just using my camera. I had a microphone that was not good, and so I never used it, and then it was just a little ring light that gave me like red eyes. So I was like, whoa, like this is cool. It feels like so like professional. Oh, and then they had a Mac. Like, that was it. Anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm talking to this girl, and actually like all the people that I was there auditioning with that day, I'm actually friends with on Facebook now. They were all really cool people. I think I'm friends with Harry on Facebook. I don't remember. We were at one point. I don't know if I had friended him after I realized that everything was just not true, but so his story, he wound up telling me, I think he told me a little bit then and then he told us more at the end, but basically his story was that he used to be like in finance or something, and then he just got bored and wanted to be creative, and so he started making movies, which fine, I guess, but supposedly that's where all his money came from. He was in finance. I think maybe he had a company. That's probably not true. I don't think he had a company. I don't know, but he had a lot of money because of like finance or whatever, because that was his old job, and he just quit it because he had enough money that he could just travel wherever he wanted to go, and now he wants to make movies on the side. Anyway, so we're sitting around this table, and you know, we're just kind of chatting, getting to know each other, relaxing a little bit, and then everybody else starts filtering in pretty much the same time, some from different doors. And there was something that was like really interesting to me, and it's not like, I don't mean this in a negative way at all. They were actually really great people, and like I don't think that it should matter. However, they were all like hearing impaired except for me and the one girl who was there before me. Like we were found the same way on Craigslist because we had been talking about it. All the other people knew each other. They came like in separate cars, but they all knew each other already, and they were all like hearing impaired and like in a Facebook group together or something like that. And supposedly that's how I found them. I don't really remember, but I just thought it was weird. I was like, okay, so it's me and her, and then everybody else, like he kind of treated them like he wasn't taking them seriously at all. It was just weird, you know what I mean? Like they were all super sweet people, and like I said, we're all friends on Facebook now, and it was awesome to work with them and get to know them and everything else. If any of you are watching, what's up? I love you. But it was just weird that like he found me and this other girl on Craigslist, and then he found all these other people who already knew each other. It just kind of weirded me out. I was like, what are the odds that you found so many people who know each other and then 2 random people? And I don't know. He also seemed to be like paying special attention to me the whole time, and it was just really weird, like coming around, like putting his hand on my shoulder, like how you doing, like joking around with me specifically and trying to like pay attention to me specifically. And then when it came time to do everything, he was like, all right, so I assume you all watched that video. And I wasn't about to say no, I didn't, because I didn't. I'm a terrible student, but I didn't want that to transfer, because at the time I was like, okay, a lot of things are kind of weird, but like at the same time, this is still an opportunity, even if it's not like an amazing one, it's still an opportunity, and he's saying he's gonna pay me. So I was like, well, can we watch over it real quick just to like refresh it all on our memory? And everybody else was like, oh my god, yeah, that's actually a great idea. So I watched this video, and I kid you not, it's an SNL skit. I think it was SNL. I might be wrong about whose skit it was. It was literally a skit on YouTube about this like support group, like called like Sarcastics Anonymous or something like that. And we watched the video, and he's like, so, okay, so everybody's got it in their heads, right? And I'm like, yeah, works for me, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, so basically for auditions, we're gonna be doing that. And I'm thinking, okay, I mean, that's a little weird. Shouldn't we be doing something from the actual series we're gonna be doing? But I didn't actually question him or anything like that. It's just like, okay, cool, yeah, that makes sense, sure, whatever. So we start kind of like with the camera off, like going around and like practicing little bits. He instantly assigns me the main speaking role, which is like the person leading the group, and he's like giving me notes and everything else, and then he gives everybody else like one line and just like react with your face, you know? And then the other girl who we also met through Craigslist, she's like an extra in a lot of stuff, apparently. Like that's what she does for a living, and that's how she found it also like on Craigslist. And so she had the second biggest speaking line, and she like had like a little thing right after I started, but I started the whole group off, and I was responding to everyone, and I was leading everyone. So all the notes pretty much were for me, and then some for her. I'm pointing like this because this is how we were sitting. We were literally sitting around a table and doing this, right? So we did it a few times, and he's like, okay, cool, now are you guys ready to film? And like, okay, I get like, yeah, sure, maybe you want to have like audition tapes like for this thing so you can look over it later, but like it pretty much seemed like he already had it set in his mind who he wanted to do what. We already had lines and everything else. So he starts filming it and then like make sure to get like a few extra shots all the way around the table. So we had to do multiple takes and he kept saying like, okay, maybe you did it this way, maybe if you did it that way, like trying to like make it good, right? So he takes all these clips and everything else. We just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And then eventually at the end, he's like, all right, all you guys did really well. I'm very pleased to say that all you guys are going to be in this series, probably with the roles that I've already assigned you. And I'm thinking, I thought that this was just an audition thing because this is already a skit on YouTube by SNL or someone like that, basically. What do you mean this is going to be our roles? Like, we can't just steal someone's skit. And I didn't say any of this, but I'm thinking like, this is really weird. And he's like, yeah, so we're not gonna do it obviously exactly like this, but it's gonna be the same kind of idea, like this sarcastic's anonymous, and I wanna make a series out of it, and we can like just keep going further with it. So like, you know, obviously Kai, you're gonna be like the group leader, and then you're all gonna have your same roles that you've had. Weird. I don't know. But still in the moment I'm just like, okay, sure, like whatever, like even if it's like weird and probably illegal, like it's still like being in something. At that time I just wanted to be a part of something because I was out in the middle of nowhere with no Wi-Fi, lonely, like poor. Like I also was under the impression he was going to compensate us for that day. I don't know why, but like I thought that he was going to, and then he didn't. Which fine, whatever, but still, because like he had said to me too, I think he had said like, let me pay for your gas or something like that, and I was like, oh, I mean, okay, if you want to. And then he didn't actually give me any money for it. He also was like, whenever I was telling him about losing my flip-flop, he's like, oh my god, let me buy you a new pair of shoes. I'm like, oh, you don't have to do that. He's like, no, it's fine, I'm gonna get you a new pair of shoes. Obviously that never happened either. I don't remember when exactly he told us, but he told us like, okay, so I want to start filming in this month at this time. We're probably gonna be doing shoots in Palm Springs, so as long as all you guys can make it in Palm Springs, we're good, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine, thinking I'm gonna move, but I don't know where I'm gonna move to, so I'll figure it out. So in September when I moved to Barstow, I contacted him and was like, hey, just so you know, I moved to Barstow, but I can still get to Palm Springs, just like let me know when the shoots are and everything else. And he gets back to me and is like, oh, we're actually pushing the project a little bit further out. He said that he had pushed it back because basically like he got some other thing that he had to take care of. I don't remember if it was finance or if it was like filming something in LA or something. I feel like it was filming something in LA, but I really don't remember. Like another project had been taking too long basically, and so he had to push back the dates. And he's like, I'm thinking probably more in this month. And I think originally it said like January 2018, something like that. And then he was like, maybe we'll be closer to March or April, but I'll let you know for sure and I'll reach out again. I reached out one other time later than that. I don't remember exactly when it was or anything like that, but there were like a month or two went by, and then I was like, hey, this still gonna happen at all? Because again, I was still struggling with rent and I still hadn't gotten my transfer through because my old boss still hadn't sent it through, even though she had said that she had. So again, I'm like in need of money and I'm like, hey, like, is this gonna happen? Or like, I really could use some money. Like if nothing else, like I could work on something else for you. And he had said something about like letting me be his assistant or something like that, or like letting me like do things for him and still make money that way. And that never happened either, because I was like, even if, you know, it's just like answering your emails or something like that, like I can do that, just like let me know. And he's like, yeah, totally. Never did. Because probably he wasn't as well off as he liked to pretend. And then after that, I just never heard from him again. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that footage is anywhere. I don't know if he deleted it. I don't know if he uploaded it somewhere. I really have zero idea. I should probably check at some point. I was also not told that it was going to be uploaded anywhere, but also why would you film that with no intent of ever actually filming anything and literally stealing the idea of somebody else to do it? Like, it wasn't like we looked at this video and kind of emulated a similar, no, we literally, like, we didn't have a script, but we still said exactly what they said in the skit that we had watched. You know, and I'm sure that this is not an original idea. However, we literally took basically, like, we changed it slightly, but it was like we still took the lines from that skit and did it that way. And I was like, this is weird, but like it's just audition, so we'll see. If I can find it, I'll put it in right now. Yeah, anyway, hopefully Harry is not watching this video, because if so, that's gonna be a little bit awkward. But let me know if you guys want to hear more stories about things like this. I have one other like weird audition story. I mean, it wasn't anything really weird, it was really just my fault, and it's kind of just a regretful situation that I should have been better about, but like it's nothing on anybody else. But also I want to start going out and doing more auditions, so hopefully I'll have more weird audition story times. 2019 is the year that I want to start focusing on my career and on my life and actually setting up a life for myself. I want to make my YouTube blow up. I want to do acting and like get my face out there and make it my actual job instead of just being a barista and saying I'm gonna do all these things and dreaming about doing these things and never actually doing anything because I'm too scared to actually do anything. So if you're someone who's not gonna scam me, hit me up. And if you're anyone who has a YouTube channel and wants to collab, especially in person, because I prefer in-person collabs, but I will do any kind of collab, hit me up. If I like your channel and I think we get along, then I'm down. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know what you think about Harry. Like, did you see any other red flags, or do you think that the red flags I saw were not really all that weird and I took them too far out of context and I'm a little bit paranoid? Because that's also possible. I am a paranoid person, and that's part of why I don't take risks like that, because I'm always like, but what if I die? I say this having, what, 3-4 Tinder story times in which I literally could have died and was stupid about it, but it's fine. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially to this week's shout out of the week across the screen right here. You have such a beautiful face. Your YouTube channel really doesn't do you justice. Just tilt your camera up a little bit more. I don't know. I didn't know what else to do there, so I thought that I would make a throwback. That was weird. I love you. Oh my god. Okay, that's all for now. If you want to be shout of the week, all you have to do is be active with me on my social media, which is all linked down below. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Give me those thumbs and share this video if you like me. I'm tired. If you're still watching, leave a comment down below that says yeehaw. Stay sketchy, my dudes. Wait, and I'll see you in the next one.
Why are you such a copycat?
I literally love this shirt so much. Go follow Andrew T. My on YouTube, or I guess subscribe is the right word, but whatever. Go follow him on YouTube, subscribe to him, buy his merch, follow him on Twitter, everything else. Give him some love and tell him that Coffee Cat sent you. Bye.